everyone. So let's get started with our English lesson for today. We're going to start with a bit of a vocab blast because I know that we looked at lots of new vocabulary and new words last week. So I just want to make sure that we are all familiar with them and we know what they mean whilst we are at home. So the first word that we have got that I'm just going to highlight here is the word calm. Can you say that? Brilliant. So we talked about someone being calm is when they are peaceful, when they are relaxed, when they are chilled, okay? We also have this word here in the middle, and that word is glum. Your turn. So glum, we said when someone was feeling a bit miserable, a bit sad, okay? So the opposite of feeling happy. And we had one more word, and that word was underneath. Your turn. So if someone is underneath something, then it means they are directly positioned under it, okay? So here you can see in the picture, I've got my lovely cat, and my cat is underneath the bench. She's positioned directly under another object. So I've got a picture up here now on the screen, and I want you to think which of my three words is that picture representing. So is this picture representing calm? Is it glum or is it underneath? Have a little think. Fab. Hopefully you've said it's underneath. Have a look at the next one. I've got a picture of a lady here. Is she calm? Is she glum? Or is she underneath something? Hopefully you've said she's glum. Well done. And my last picture here, is this person calm? Are they glum? Or are they underneath? Well done if you said calm. And I'm just going to add a bit of a challenge in here for you, just to get your brains thinking on this Monday morning. I want you to have a think about these words and which word classes they belong to. So have a think. Were they adjectives, nouns? Were they verbs, prepositions? Have a think, because each word is a different word class. So let's focus on calm first. So is calm an adjective? Is it a describing word? Or is calm a noun? Is it the name of an object? Okay, so hopefully you've said that calm is an adjective because it's describing how somebody is feeling. Okay, what about glum? About glum, if we said someone was glum. Okay, so if we're describing how someone is feeling, then this word becomes an adjective. What about underneath? Can anyone remember? Because this was really tricky last week. We looked at underneath. So underneath is actually a preposition, okay? And a preposition, remember, tells us where something is. So well done if you got that one at home, because that is quite tricky to remember because we've only just learned it. So moving forward in our English lesson today, I want us to just have a little think about what has already happened in the story that we've been exploring so far. So we've been looking at dinosaurs and all that rubbish, which is a fabulous story, and we have met this young man, haven't we? So just have a think, what has he done in the book and what has happened so far? Fab. So I'm going to talk you through now my little recap. So this young man here, was his dream, wasn't it, was to get up to the star in the sky. And he tried lots of different ways of doing it. But in the end, he saw the bird and he decided he wanted his factory workers to make him a rocket, build him a rocket so that he could fly up there. But in the process of him doing this, unfortunately, the earth started to look like this here, and there was lots of factories which caused lots of smoke, so it was polluting the skies, and lots of rubbish as well. So the land went from something that was beautiful and colourful to something that was dark and dingy and wasn't very nice. And we've read up to where he gets onto the moon, haven't we? And where he's looking down at Earth and having a look at everything that he has done and reflecting on where he is now. Well done if you remembered all those points. It's quite a lot to remember. We haven't read any more of the story so far. But what our task is today is, well, I've been thinking over the weekend and I thought, I don't think I'm very happy with this man because I don't think he has looked after the earth very well. I think he's changed the earth from something that was really pretty and really beautiful and made it a quite miserable and horrible place to be. I don't know how you feel. So I think we need to write him a letter and tell him all of this. So what do you think we might need to include it in our letter to him? What did we write last week that we might want to include this week? Have a think. I know. I want to include all that fabulous descriptive vocabulary which describes what the earth was like before and what it was like after. Okay, so I'm going to think of some of these words that we had before and after to describe what he has done. So he knows exactly how he has impacted on the changes that have happened on planet Earth. So I want us to today use superlatives. Okay, I'm just going to highlight those on our screen now. And if you can remember, we looked at superlatives as a way to describe, okay, what the earth looks like. And if we focus on one of these words, so for example, darkest, I'm going to write darkest down here so you can see it. So darkest has the root word dark, but then we added the suffix ist, E-S-T, onto the end of it to show that something is the most of something, so that it's really dark, okay? We also changed, for example, light, the adjective, to lightest, okay, to show something that something is really light. We also did the same with clean. We changed that to cleanest. So to make sure we're including our superlatives today, we've got to ensure that we've got our adjective root word with est on the end of it, and that we're using these superlatives in our writing, okay? So thinking about that then, and thinking about these words on here, I'm just going to have a little look and see the words that I might want to use in my work. So I've got brightest, darkest, lightest, coldest, warmest, cleanest, dirtiest, prettiest, ugliest, and stinkiest. Can you remember when we changed ugly to ugliest, we had to remove the Y, add an I, and then put the EST. So remember, if a word ends in Y and we're adding the suffix EST onto the end, we have to change it to an I. So let's have a little recap then before we start writing our letter together, to think about what we need to tell the man about how the earth was before he built all the factories. So thinking back to the work that we did last week. So let's pull on that knowledge now and pull it all together to write this letter. So I'm going to use that sentence frame that says first there were. So I could use first there were the brightest trees in the world. First there were the cleanest lands. First there were the prettiest animals. Oh, I've got some fabulous things. It's describing it in a really nice way, isn't it? But then after, this is where I start to use superlatives that make the earth seem like a very miserable place, maybe even a glum place, which is what we were describing before, that word we're using in our vocab blast. So now I could say after there were the dirtiest lands, or after there were the darkest skies. So I'm making it out that it's not a very nice place, not a very pleasant place to be. So pulling all these ideas together, what we're going to have a go at doing is writing our letter together, okay? So I want to include superlatives, and I really, really want the man to realise that he knows what the earth was like before and how it has changed and what the impact this has had. So I'm going to think of two opposing arguments. I'm going to include one of my superlatives. I've got to include those because I'm making sure that I'm joining all this language together. I'm going to punctuate each sentence, and I've got a challenge. You remember last week we looked at using but to join two sentences to join them together? Well, I want us to have a little go at doing that today. So let's have a little think. So I'm writing my letter, so I need to address it to the man. So I'm going to say, dear man. I'm going to put a comma at the end of it. Okay, so this is who I'm writing my letter to, dear ma'am. So I'm going to start with an opening sentence that gets my point across to show him how I'm feeling. So I'm not happy with him because he's made the earth really dirty. So I'm going to start by saying that I think you need to keep the earth clean. That's going to be my first sentence. I'm going to think of it. I think you need to keep the earth clean. So I'm going to have a capital letter at the start. I think you need to keep the earth. Earth clean. 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 Great. Right, so that's my opening sentence to tell the man why I'm writing this letter and what I want him to do. And then I'm going to think about two opposing arguments. So what was the earth like before and what is the earth like later or after? So before. So I'm going to say before there were what? What could I say there were before? I'm going to look at my picture. I'm going to look at my superlative. I might say before there were the prettiest. I think I'm going to use prettiest. And I'm going to say trees or plants. Maybe plants. So before there were the prettiest plants. Oh, a bit of alliteration there. Before there were the prettiest. I'm taking that off my word mat here, look. I'll just highlight that for you so you can see it. Prettiest is just there. So before there were the prettiest plants. Plants, great. So before there were the prettiest plants. What was it like after then? So I'm thinking of two opposing arguments. I've said what it's like before, but after there were, I think I'm going to use the word dirtiest. Yeah, there were the dirtiest. Oh, actually, what about smokiest? That isn't on there. But we said, didn't we, about the smoke being up in the sky and it polluting everywhere. So I could say, after there were the smokiest factories or smokiest skies and factories. Yeah, so after there were the smokiest skies and factories. And the word factories is on my word map. Factories. Right, so I'm going to read that back now and just see how my letter's going so far. So I've written, dear man, I think you need to keep the earth clean. Before there were the prettiest plants. After there were the smokiest skies and factories. My challenge today was to use but to join. I wonder where I could put but to join my two opposing arguments together. Have a little look. Where could I put but in the middle to get one argument with another argument and join it together? Have a look. I think I've found it. Let's check. So here I've said, before there were the prettiest plants, end of a sentence. After there were the smokiest skies and factories, end of a sentence. I remove this full stop here, change that to a comma and put but, and then we need to change that to a lowercase letter. Then I've got my opposing arguments. So I've written now, before there were the prettiest plants, but after there were the smokiest skies and factories. Yeah, that works. Fabulous. Right, now I need my final sentence to make sure I've got my point across and he knows exactly what he needs to do. Let me see if there's any words on my word mat I could use. Oh, remove. What could he remove from the land to make it cleaner? The rubbish, because there's lots of rubbish everywhere. So I could say, you need to remove all the rubbish from the world. Yeah, I'm going to write that. You need to remove all the rubbish from the world. Great. Oops, missed a capital letter. There we go. And then we're going to put from misread. Great. Shall we check it and see if we've got everything that we need to? I'm just going to get my green pen out and you can help me mark this at home. So remember, we're looking for two opposing arguments, superlatives, punctuation, and my challenge using but to join. So, dear man, I've got my capital letter there. I think you need to help keep the earth clean. Full stop at the end. Before, capital letter, there were the prettiest plants. So prettiest is my superlative. But, so I've got my challenge there to join. After, there were the smokiest. I've got my other superlative there, skies and factories. And I've got my punctuation at the end of my sentence. And then let's check my last sentence as well. I've got my capital letter there. You need to remove, misread, you've not spelled that correct. This is why you always have to edit it. So let me check. I need to make sure that's not in the past tense. So here, you need to remove all the rubbish from the world, and a full stop at the end. And then I've also said who it is from. Fab, that is looking great. So your task today then is to have a go at writing your own letter to the man to tell him how he has destroyed the earth and how he needs to remove all these bad things and improve it and make the world better. In a second, you can have a little go at pausing the screen. You've got the pictures here that you can use, and you've got a word mat that might help you with some of your ideas as well. Don't forget to use your Fred fingers and your phonics to help you spell some of these words. So think of two opposing arguments, make sure you've got a superlative in each of them, and then check that you've punctuated the sentence. If you want a challenge, see if you can put but in the middle of two sentences to have a go at joining them. And I really, really want you to send me this across so I can see how you have done. This is a big writing task for you to do today. Okay, so don't forget to send it me across. Enjoy doing this piece of writing, and I can't wait to see your letters, and fingers crossed the man decides to remove all this rubbish and make the planet look beautiful and as fabulous as it was before. Good luck. Bye.